Hello, I'm Lori Steiner, sitting in for Armin Budish. Welcome to Golden Opportunities.
Today, do you trust that your estate plan will work? We'll point out possible pitfalls. Then, the voice of the Cleveland Cavaliers, Tate, tells us why his career has been a real ball. Plus, we'll unpack helpful advice you can use when moving your home. And we'll reveal new rights to get health insurance even if you have a pre-existing condition.
It's time to get GOing, so pull up a chair and join us at our kitchen table for Golden Opportunities. What kind of legacy will you leave? Your legacy, of course, is how you lived your life, but it's also how you leave your life. Will your will willingly be followed? Do you trust your trust to take care of your loved ones? Jim Lineweaver is here to state what plans you need to make in estate planning. Jim is a certified financial planner with the Lineweaver Financial Group. Okay, welcome to the show, talking about estate planning.
Thanks for having me.
So let's say we've done our will, we've got our trust, all the I's are dotted, all the T's are crossed. But even though you think you have everything done, you've got some life lessons that you've learned over the years about people who thought they had it all together but maybe didn't.
They do, yeah. Somehow you need to make sure your financial affairs are in order, but stay in order, and that's the issue. Because a lot of people have great intentions in the beginning, life throws a lot of changes at you, and then unfortunately you're not staying up with what you should be. So a perfect example is a client had come to us, and what ended up happening is their father had an IRA. He had passed away, and so she was about to thinking that she was going to get to inherit the money, but the mom was still listed as primary beneficiary, and no kids were listed as contingent. So Dad forgot to mind the store, because money issues sometimes are tough to talk about between family members.
Absolutely.
So here the money then had to go through probate, and then also the distributions were forced to the kids in a manner that was not very tax friendly. So it could have all been avoided had the father properly dotted his I's and crossed his T's.
Well, wouldn't they have had to pay taxes on it anyway, like the minimum distribution rules?
They would have, but what ends up happening is a lot of times it's the difference between somebody just taking those distributions and stretching that out so they pay a lot less in taxes and get a lot more money over time, as opposed to just saying, hey, let's go buy a new Corvette or something, and just taking all the money at once. Yeah, and not thinking that that money's coming on top of the money they're already earning, so they could be jumping up a couple brackets and lose a lot of money to the IRS and just kill that inheritance.
Okay, and you've also seen issues with young adults who are suddenly left a lot of money and a big inheritance, and that can cause problems.
Yeah, and these can be very unexpected. It's not always planned. We had a case where we work with a lot of law firms, and they had us come in because there was a wrongful death of a father at his job, and the daughter inherited a lot of money. There was no other wife or mother in the picture. And what ended up happening was they didn't have any restrictions on the money. Once that child became the legal age of majority, virtually could get in there and raid that account.
They just could
yeah,
take it
so
right out.
You may want to think about, putting restrictions or age restrictions. Like on the trust that I have, I'll set it up as 35, 40 and 45 when they first start to get distributions on their money.
Time out the money rather than all in one lump sum.
Exactly. This way they can't just come in and raid that account for $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 at a time. It's a big issue.
Okay. How about some estate planning and how to title your assets?
Yeah, what you want to make sure you do is on anything that might not be titled in the name of the trust, like real estate or savings or checking account, make sure you at least are either set up jointly with rights to survivorship, or they have transfer on death or payable on death. It doesn't cost you any money to do it, but it's automatically going to go by contract and therefore not have to go through probate, and most likely then nobody's going to be able to really contest anything either, so it's going to pass according to your wishes.
All right, even real estate, that's interesting. There's so much here, though. There's so many details that people are going to forget them or mess things up. You've got a way to help, right?
We do. We're having a free seminar for any of your viewers that would like to attend. It's actually going to be on Tuesday, February 21st at 6:30 at our Valley View office, and also Thursday, February 23rd at 1 p.m. We're going to have one of our attorneys there and going over all these details and give you a lot of examples so that people don't make these same type of mistakes in the future.
People need to call for reservations, right?
They do, because they fill up fast. So please have them give us the number's 888-313-4009 if they want to call.
Okay. good tips again. If you already have an estate plan, plan to review it. If you don't, plan to make one. And either way, plan to attend Jim's seminars to learn how to leave the legacy you really want.
Find out more by calling the Lineweaver Financial Group at 1-888-313-4009 or click to www.lineweaver.net. Next, wham! With the right hand. But first, in 1 week, the Academy Awards will announce those honored for cinema success for films from 2011. While thanking the Academy, the heavyweight winners will be holding a hefty statuette named Oscar. How much does this Tinseltown trophy weigh? We'll measure his matter and note the number when we return.
Good Neighbor Pharmacy locations accept your Express Scripts and TRICARE benefits. If you're an Express Scripts or TRICARE beneficiary, contact us today to transfer your prescriptions. You'll be happy you did. Find the store nearest you at goodneighborpharmacy.com.
In Middleburg Heights, visit Southwest Community Pharmacy. In Elyria, go to Gates Pharmacy. In Lorraine, go to Southside Pharmacy. And in Vermilion, go to Vintage Pharmacy. For more information, go to goodneighborpharmacy.com. Good Neighbor Pharmacy, the best medicine for your health.
Oscar may be only 13.5 inches tall, but pound for pound, he packs quite a punch. The scale marks his award-winning weight at 8.5 pounds.
Joe Tate isn't just the voice of the Cleveland Cavaliers or the Indians announcer who started each game with the "It's a beautiful day for baseball." To friends and fans alike, this Hall of Fame broadcaster is simply Joe. He's just one of us. And now we have a play-by-play recap of Joe's sports announcer life, thanks to his new book, Joe Tate. It's been a real ball, written with his friend and colleague, sports writer Terry Pluto. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Lori.
To talk about your book. So, it would, I think, be an understatement to say that you always loved sports, but I think a lot of folks will be surprised that you always loved announcing as well, even as a kid. So how did that come about?
Well, I did a lot of one-man broadcasts of Jim Prentice baseball and all-star football, and even played some one-man football games out in my backyard with a rather intricate set of rules to which I applied play-by-play.
And you applied the play-by-play. And you had friends that you would work with as well?
Oh, yeah. A buddy of mine and I used to go up to Wing Park in Elgin, Illinois, and sit out in the corner of the bleachers, and the Elgin Builders, which was a semi-pro team, played up there. And we'd do the play-by-play, and then on the way home we would critique each other.
Okay, you did critique each other.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
yeah.
That must have been difficult to hear sometimes. And finally, you got to be a real broadcaster, but it wasn't easy at the beginning, was it? You had to take a pay cut, I understand?
Well, I was a real janitor before I was a real broadcaster, and one led to the other, and then, yeah, at times you did take pay cuts to move to what you thought would be a better job, including coming to Cleveland, where I had been working in Terre Haute, Indiana, and when I came to the Cavaliers, I went from $10,000 a year down to $7,400 a year.
My, that's a big cut.
Yes, well, it was the right move to make.
So how did you get the in to the Cavaliers?
Bill Fitch was the first coach. I'd known Bill for many, many years, and he knew of my work. And in fact, he used to kid me of the fact that I could make a losing football team sound like a 6-6 tie when they're losing 66-0. And he knew he was about to coach probably the worst basketball team in NBA history, and they were. And so he suggested to Nick Milletti that I be the one they hire to do the play-by-play, and I passed muster and have been here more or less ever since.
Okay, we kind of all started out together. Ooh, there's a Cavaliers.
Oh, that's frightening. That jersey and trousers belonged to Rick Roberson, the Cavaliers starting center, and Rick let me wear them for a Halloween party and then accused me of stretching them and said they didn't fit right when I gave them back.
All right, and when Nick Milletti hired you with a pay cut, he promised he'd make it up to you. Is that how he did that, by becoming the voice of the Cleveland Indians?
Lori, that's true. When he got the Indians, he called me up and said, now I'm going to make it up to you. You are now the voice of the Cleveland Indians, and I went to work with Herb Score. You see us up there in the booth at the old stadium, and Herb Score was a great teacher and a good broadcast partner. I had 7 really delightful years with Herb.
Okay, and a lot of catchphrases came out of all this broadcasting.
Yeah, I don't know where they come from either. I think, and I think any announcer would tell you this, if you sit around and try to dream them up beforehand, and when you use the predetermined catchphrases, they fall flat.
Oh, okay.
They have to come from just spur of the moment. And the one...
from your emotions, from
yeah,
your gut
a lot of
when it's
people
happening.
remember when Craig Elo beat Utah on December 23rd with a 3-pointer at the buzzer. I said, yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus, and he comes from Lubbock, Texas. I have no idea why I said it.
Inspiration.
It just came, yeah.
All right. Well, the book is so great. It's got a lot of these stories. It's got also a lot of fans who wrote in to tell them how much they thought that you added to everything.
Boy, look at that picture. That's back in the old days where that's Bill Nichols there next to me, and Austin Carr, and yeah, that was from the old days, I think, when we were at the Coliseum. And
if you're a fan, thank you so much for giving us this information, and if you're a fan of Cleveland sports, then you're a fan of Joe Tate. Don't miss reading Joe Tate. It's been a real ball, and it's been a ball having Joe join us here today.
Thank you very much, Lori. Thank you.
To learn more, call Gray & Company Publishers at 800-708-2819 or log on to www.grayco.com. Looking for places to go, things to do? Welcome to our community calendar. There's help for understanding estate planning. Plan to attend Wills, Trusts, Power of Attorney, and Avoiding Probate, a free seminar presented by the Lineweaver Financial Group. The event will take place at the Lineweaver offices in Valley View on Tuesday, February 21st at 6:30 p.m. and again Thursday, February 23rd at 1 p.m. To reserve your seat, call 216-520-1711.
We have a real gem right here in Northeast Ohio. MetroHealth is celebrating its 175th year serving the community of Cuyahoga County. Dr. Al Connors could talk about the hospital's amazing past, but today he's here to share how Metro is vital to the present and to the future of the community. Dr. Connors is the Chief Medical Officer at MetroHealth. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Lori.
We're very fortunate in our area of the country to have great hospitals. So what makes MetroHealth special?
Well, we do have great hospitals in this community, and we're proud to be one of them. MetroHealth is unique for the way it serves the community, the commitment of the faculty and the staff, and I think our mission and the desire to be available to everyone in the community, regardless of how you pay for your health care, is what sets us apart. It's a challenging mission, but one we're proud to serve.
That's very important. And in fact, in talking about the reputation, you've had physicians both inside and outside the area who are very impressed with Metro.
Well, you know, Metro is, our faculty are very involved in their subspecialty organizations. They're active in their research. They're leaders in their field. So I sometimes say our reputation is even better nationally than it is locally. But Metro's an impressive place, and I think a lot of people haven't actually been there. And, what I'll hear very frequently is people will come through the doors and they'll say, "Wow, this is a nice place," you know. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, it's a nice place.
What were you expecting?
Well, they weren't expecting, you know, the quality of a facility and I think the quality of care that we provide. So it's a pleasant surprise, but there are lots of people who, to whom it's not a secret, and they recognize the value of Metro.
We want to get that info out there.
Right.
So one way you're committed to the community is your plan of getting more involved throughout Cuyahoga County. So tell us about what the plans are.
Well, our mission is to be accessible to everyone, and it specifically says we're accessible to all, regardless of your ability to pay. And what we found in this economic downturn is we've seen a growth in the amount of uninsured care. People who've lost their jobs, lost their insurance, and come to Metro for their health care. we've seen a 36% increase in the number of people who come because they don't have insurance and they know they can come to Metro and get care. What's interesting is that increase has largely been out in the rim suburbs. That we've seen a bigger percentage increase there than in the city of Cleveland, where we more generally expected to see it. And we're realizing that we don't have the facilities and the availability out there. It's inconvenient for people to come. So we're trying to put sites out in the community so that everyone in the county is close to a MetroHealth site.
So where's the next place?
Well, we're opening a place in Middleburg Heights, which is, we have a site down in Strongsville. We're going to consolidate this into a bigger site, which with kind of broader coverage of both primary care and specialty care. We're pretty excited about it.
Okay, sounds like you are committed to the community.
Yes, ma'am.
And you mentioned that there's a lot of people who come who don't have insurance or other means to pay for the care. So how does all these services get paid for?
Well, it's a challenge. We pinch our pennies at Metro. But the thing that's wonderful about this community, and I think our county hospital, where in a lot of communities, the county hospitals require a substantial amount of support from the community. Places like Dallas or Chicago or Atlanta, where the price tag is in $300 and $400 million of support. At Metro, in Cleveland, we've always been able to attract a middle-class population so that we have quite a number of patients who have insurance, could go anywhere but come to Metro, in addition to the patients who come to us because they're uninsured. And we're able to provide services to them, make money in providing that care that offsets the cost of the uninsured care. So we right now get about $36 million in support from the county, and we're very grateful for that support. But we have about $130 million in costs of uninsured care that we have to cover each year.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you're doing a good job, and people really appreciate that. So that's great. MetroHealth is a real treasure for us in Cuyahoga County. Great care for everyone, regardless of ability to pay. And Dr. Connors is a great example of the passion of the people of MetroHealth. My thanks to Dr. Connors for joining us today.
Thank you, Lori.
To find out more about MetroHealth, visit www.metrohealth.org. Next, how to move on. It's time to get up and go. An exercise minute on golden opportunities.
Hello, I'm Mike Carbon from Breakout Fitness, and today we're going to do a butterfly exercise for our chest muscles. All right, we got some dumbbells here. You ready to go?
Ready to go. All right, we're going to lay back on the ground. We want our feet flat on the floor. Now today we're going to start with the dumbbells directly above our chest. You want to keep a slight bend in your arm. All right, keep a slight bend in your arm. Right. Great. Now we're opening at the chest, letting the elbows touch the ground, and close. Once again, we always use slow and controlled movements. Up and down. We're going to want to do 3 or 4 sets of these, 10 to 15 repetitions. Always slow and controlled. How you feeling over there?
I'm still here.
All right. All right, everybody. Now it's your turn to get up and go.
For your copy of the exercise booklet, please send $1 for postage to Golden Opportunities, 23240 Chagrin Boulevard, Suite 450, Beechwood, Ohio, 44122.
You may have claimed your homestead way back when, but partner, now it's time to round things up and move them out. How do you corral all your clutter and herd it to your next household? Jim Stevens is here to help us circle the wagons. Jim is the president of 10-year-old Caring Transitions Incorporated, located in Cleveland Heights.
That's correct.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Lori.
All right, moving is always stressful. I hate doing it too. But seniors who've lived in their homes for decades have special challenges, right?
They certainly do. And it's known as the third most stressful event people go through in life after death and divorce. Moving, believe it or not, is the most right up there with the challenging emotional situation. And really, after people have been in a home for 40, 50, 60 years, what do you do with all the stuff? How do you get through this project without losing your mind? We try to help.
They're losing their health, maybe. They're losing their independence, they feel. So this is a big deal.
Exactly. The emotions are running very high, and many times it's so overwhelming that even family members can't really do a proper job, where you have to bring in someone such as Caring Transitions, and we're specialists in senior move management.
So I know the movers are great people. I mean, you'd be working with guys who I'm sure you've screened well, but they can't sit there and empathize. They don't have time for that. They're moving in and moving you back into your new place. So where where can seniors turn to for this emotional support they need? I mean, what about their families?
Right, they can turn to the families, but as I say, many times families are either out of town, they're raising families of their own, they just don't have the time or really the expertise to handle such a large project. And that's where we come in and specialize with the compassion and the empathy and the understanding to make sure this comes through and everyone stays all together.
Okay. And you give reassurance to those seniors who are moving, probably.
In my business, there's a lot of hand-holding, there's a lot of hugging, there's a lot of reassurance that, you know, we will get through this and everything will turn out fine. We've done this hundreds of times.
It is very personal. It
is a very personal situation where you're, you know, dealing with, you know, memorabilia that they've had, you know, you're going through their clothing, through their entire lives, and you have to really make yourself feel part of the family. Many times we end up feeling exactly like a surrogate family member and making sure it all gets done.
And I know I had to help my mom through that kind of a transition, and she wanted to bring everything, and it just wasn't possible. So she's telling to put things on the truck, I'm telling to take things off the truck. So how do you help people through that?
That's our biggest challenge. Everyone wants to take everything with them, but we go through and we do it on a step-by-step basis. We have an initial consultation. We then stay in touch constantly with the client to make sure that they know exactly what's going on, what steps going where, and what's happening next. And the communication is just so important that we have to make sure that we know where they're going, how much room they have, and we work the whole plan through.
Okay, so you're sorting out what goes with them, what goes someplace else, maybe to charity, maybe to trash. So how do you do that?
It's going to fall into one of 5 categories. It's going to go with them, and we mark that with a little green sticker so the movers know when they come in, it's green, it's going on the truck, and it's moving. It may go to a family member, out-of-town relatives. It may go to a consignment store. We coordinate all that with the consignment company. It's going to go to their favorite charity, as you said, and there again we can help them. If it isn't picked up, we can deliver the things to the charity. And last but not least, it's going to be recycled or thrown away, and we can also help with that whole process.
So you can coordinate what's going to go where and how it gets to wherever it is that it has to go.
They need to make the decision, but with our help and our counseling,
a little bit of guidance along the way.
We have to guide a lot, but it usually works out very well.
Okay, how about the cost for your services?
It runs the gamut, obviously, depending on how big the job is. But on a typical, say, 3-bedroom house, moving into maybe a 2-bedroom or smaller apartment or senior community, usually runs between $2,300, $2,400, $2,500 for our services. And of course, the moving company is on top of that.
Okay, but it sounds like it could be money well spent.
Absolutely.
So, thanks for giving us this great information.
Certainly.
So, if it's time to get a move on, you might want your first move to be calling Jim for help. His number is next, and happy trails to you until we meet again.
For more information, call Caring Transitions at 216-346-2367 or visit their website, www.caringtrans.com. Next, how to get health insurance even if you've already been turned down.
Hi, I'm Trapper Jack for Nelson Vein Clinic. It has to do with removing varicose veins. Deb, you had the process done when?
Just 3 days ago.
And how did your legs look before?
They look like a road map to Akron.
Yeah. Were you shocked at how fast everything took place once you were here?
Absolutely. Not more than 30 minutes. I actually felt no pain. I felt no discomfort.
Was it even less painful when you found out it was covered by insurance?
Of course. It was an amazing experience, and she's an amazing doctor.
Isn't it time you took care of your varicose veins? Call or log on to nelsonvein.com.
Once we reach age 65, Medicare will provide health insurance coverage at a reasonable price, even if we have pre-existing conditions. But what happens before age 65? What if we retire early or lose our job before age 65? How can we make sure we're protected? Here with the little-known answers is my well-known law partner, Mike Solomon.
Hi, Lori.
Hi. Well, age 65 is great. Medicare will cover us even if we're pre-existing conditions, but what if we're not yet 65 and need insurance?
Well, I'd like to say you could get insurance if you're prior to age 65. The real problem is if you have a pre-existing condition, and you retire, let's say, prior to age 65, it may be difficult to get reasonably priced health insurance when you have a pre-existing condition and you leave before age 65.
Well, we want solutions here and golden opportunities. What's the solution?
Well, one of the solutions is, the new health care legislation, some people call it Obamacare. In 2014, you'll be able to get insurance even if you have a pre-existing condition. The states have to set up what are called health exchanges, and you can get insurance there even if you have a pre-existing condition, and the same cost as someone who doesn't have a pre-existing condition. So by then the problem will be solved.
But that doesn't start till 2014, right? So what do we do in the meantime?
Well, there are a few different opportunities. One is there is an interim law that continues now until 2014, and you can get health insurance even if you have a pre-existing condition, the same cost, but there's one trap. you have to be without insurance for 6 months. And so that's a long period to go without health insurance.
Okay.
And if you want more information on that, there's a website on that, www.healthcare.gov, and you click on Find Your Insurance Options. It can give you the cost and a little bit more about that program.
Okay, but we don't want to be uninsured for 6 months. What do we do in that gap time?
Well, if you leave employment and you work for an employer that had 20 or more employees, you can qualify for something called COBRA. And what that means is you leave employment, you can pay to still get your health insurance coverage, even if you have a pre-existing condition. The cost for that insurance will be the same cost that the company has been paying, and you have to pay that premium plus up to 2% more. And that may be more than you're paying, because when you're working, your employer sometimes subsidizes your premium, but you're going to be covered, and it's going to be a reasonable cost.
Okay, but that's only 18 months, right? What
Right.
about that gap between 18 months and 2014 if we're retiring right now?
Well, there is another program that exists, and if you have that gap, you can still qualify. It's called HIPAA, and you can get health insurance again, even if you have a pre-existing condition. You can get private coverage. The cost may be more than you want, but you can still get that sort of coverage.
Okay, so some options.
Right.
That's helpful for our viewers to know. So, no one should risk going without health care coverage. But if you have a pre-existing condition, that's easier said than done. Thankfully, the new federal health care law gives you some important new protections. For more information, give Mike Solomon a call. We'll be right back.
Call Budish, Solomon, Steiner, and Peck at 1-888-236-5173 for more information or to schedule a speaker for your organization. Or log on to www.budishandsolomon.com.
Thanks for joining us. Until next week, be sure to make the most of your golden opportunities.
Would you like to join our kitchen conversation? All you have to do is call toll-free 1-877-765-1543 and leave us your question, name, and phone number. Or log on to www.golden.tv for all the latest information and show updates.